In the 2023 release Wave 2, Microsoft released for Dynamics 365 Business Central the ability to use fixed allocations and variable allocations, and also allocation templates. Let's take a look at this. This is new functionality that's in Dynamics BC. It's something we've been waiting for a while. You have been able to get similar functionality with an add-in, but this is built right into the code and it's ready to use, and we're going to take a quick look at it. We're going to look at how it works with transactions in the general ledger, and we'll look at the setup behind it. So let's get started. This is the general journal entry I've got set up that has multiple allocations on it. So let's take a look at it. The first one here for office rent is a fixed allocation. It allocates the rent based on fixed percentages for different departments. Let's take a look at it separately. This has already been set up. I have a new account type. It's called Allocation Account. This is the name of the allocation I'm using. You can see if I do a drop down here, I've got a number of different allocations. We'll look at each of these. The account name is Office Rent. And I've got a dollar amount here. This is an invoice entry on the general journal. What we can do here to see the results is we can run the post preview and take a look at what's going to happen. Let's take a look at the general ledger entry here. And we can see the allocations being made to rent expense with these three departments in it. Let's take a look at the setup for this. Look at allocation accounts. So here I've set up different types of allocations. The first one we looked at is for office rent. It's a fixed account type. Let's open this up. And this is my fixed allocation. I made it simple. I had three different departments I was going to use. So for the first line, the rent expense is going to this department here, administration. Second line going to production, and the third line to sales. I set up simple percentages. This is the field that you change. I use percentages, but you can easily use any amount you want. So for example, say I've got an invoice that's already been broken down by my accounting department. I just want to enter it and say it's something like this, and then fine, like this. The system will then use the percentages to do the allocation. The system uses percentages out to the 5th decimal point. So this is the fixed allocation. The second allocation on my journal entry is a variable allocation. It's based on the non-financial accounts, the statistical accounts that are in Business Central. Let's take a look at it. I'll filter on this item. Let's preview the posting. We've got 6 entries again. Here I'm allocating fire and property insurance to different locations, 3 different locations. Again, we'll go to the allocation accounts. This is the one I used here. This is the variable allocation. Let's take a look at that. This is a variable allocation. This is the account number it's going to use. And then it's going to use location based on the values in a statistical account I have set up called square footage. These are the options for the breakdown accounts. I can use a GL account, a bank account, or in this case, a statistical account. So let's take a look at this setup here. I've got a filter set up because I want the first line just to be location 01. Likewise, location 02 and 03. So I set this up. Let's look at the dimensions. I set the dimensions here for each line. So what this is going to do, it's going to look at that statistical account, square footage. It's going to add up the values for location 1, 2, and 3. It's going to do the calculation to break that down by percentage at the current balance. You can see those options here. And this is my allocation account. Let's take a look at the statistical account. Here's my statistical account. Here I can do journal entries for different periods, change that amount. Let's drill down into one of them. Here you can see the breakdown. It breaks it down to these non-financial numbers. You can see those here. So my variable allocation is going to use these numbers by location, calculate the percentage for each line, and then allocate on that basis. Before we continue, if you like this type of content, the best way to support us and to help others find this content is to subscribe to our channel, activate the notifications, and share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for helping us grow this channel. Let's get back to the demonstration. We've looked at the fixed allocation for office rent and the variable allocation for insurance. The next two are based on the same allocation methods, but I'm not setting up a specific account-based allocation. I'm using another allocation to provide a template for this new allocation in my general ledger. Microsoft refers to this template allocation as an inherit from parent allocation. All it does is makes a template based on other allocations in the system. So what I've done here is I've got two lines. I've got a line for utilities expense and a line for repairs and maintenance expense. And I've got the amounts here. So up to this point, this is a regular journal entry. However, what I've done, if I scroll over to the right a little bit more, I specified an allocation account number. These are allocations. These are the two that we looked at previously. The department allocation is the fixed allocation, and the location allocation is a variable allocation that we just looked at. It's going to charge the amount to this account, use the allocation for office rent, and apply it to this particular line. So this is really helpful. So what that means is I don't have to set up a separate allocation for each individual account number for which I want an allocation. I can just use another allocation I have for another account and use that again as a template. Let's take a look at it. Here are my allocation accounts again. We've looked at the office rent and the insurance. So I've got two based on that. This is the same calculation that I use for office rent. Let's open that up. And this is how I've defined it. Set up as an inherit from parent. Again, I call this a template. And I'm using these fixed amounts here. And if I look at the dimensions, you can see the similarities to the fixed one. They're exactly the same. But the type's different. Same thing for the variable template. Let's take a look at that. I've got that set up like this. It specifies the statistical account that I'm using. You can see that here. I've got the filters again. I look at a particular dimension. And here I'm specifying the dimension as the location code 01. So you can see that this allocation is almost identical to the variable allocation that I worked with before. But because it's set up with this account type, inherit from parent, I can use this with any account. It's going to use this allocation method to calculate it. So I think this is really powerful. It allows me to use this allocation over and over again for different accounts without having to set everything up ahead of time. So this is going to be very useful. So in this video, we showed how Microsoft has added to Dynamics 365 Business Central the ability to add fixed allocations and variable allocations, and also added a functionality to create templates that you can use with any accounts. This is going to be very powerful for financial accounting. You should take a look at it and try it out.